Hello, YouTubers. Reloading Bench back with you once again, and this is the continuing saga of the mobile base solution for the Delta Unisaw. So I reached out to our vendor, Delta, the vendor who makes this particular saw. Unfortunately, mine, as you recall, my base is larger than what will fit in the current Delta Unisaw base offering. I think it's 50-273. That is 20 and 5/8 by 20 and 5/8, and I'm at 22 and 3/4 ish, depending. One side is, I think, a little shorter than the other by less than 1/4 inch. But in any case, let's just call it 23 by 23. So I got in touch with customer support at Delta, and this is the base that they recommend. And the reason you can't see this too well is these are wooden pieces, 2x2 wooden pieces. Now, I made something very similar with the Harbor Freight version of this, albeit the Harbor Freight version probably isn't as robust as this one, nor is it as expensive. I think the Harbor Freight, when I bought that back in 2018 or 2017, one of those years, was like 25, 30 bucks. This particular solution, as you'll see in the pricing in a second, it varies, but you basically have to cut the wood, insert the wood, drill the holes, and then, you build it to size. Which, it's an option. I mean, I don't think it's the best option. But what really surprised me and caught me off guard was when I looked at the specs of this. So our friends at Home Depot sell it for $73 and some change. Our friends in the rainforest sell it for $125 and change. But the Delta 50-345 holds up to 300 pounds. So this thing has a 300-pound rating. Now, people have built this, and they have their saws on it. The Unisaw that I have is more than 300 pounds. So, and I don't feel like buying this and then having to buy 2x2s, which are no longer 2x2s. I was even thinking of steel tubing, square tubing. And, I just didn't feel like going down that path with all that work to do something that is, for lack of a better term, kind of a hack, but it does give me a custom size, as does the Wen. And the Wen gets pretty close in 1-inch increments. So I'm probably not going to do this option. I went online and I was hitting some of the forums, and everybody's big on ShopFox. So I started looking at the ShopFox offerings. And the ShopFox D2057A adjustable mobile base, which they call small, and it can go as large as 29.5 by 29.5. And it doesn't have set increments like little 1-inch holes. So it's a slider bar that you loosen the 2 bolts on, the sides and the front, and then you adjust. So you get a perfect fit. The only thing I didn't like about this solution was this is a manual, bend down, get on your knees, turn this so that the feet extend out. I'm old. I don't want to be bending down anymore. I have to do that with my Redzilla bead blasting, which isn't a big deal because that thing weighs, 45, 50 pounds. This saw weighs 350, 400 pounds. So twisting those and, that's, not my idea of a good time. So that's 90 bucks from our friends at the Rainforest. And the nice thing is free returns, because the only thing, well, not the only thing, but one of the things that concerns me is, the size of these casters, as well as the material. To me, this looks like cheapy plastic material, very similar to the Wen. Again, not bashing it, but, I don't know how that would hold up. The next up version of actually, they almost look identical. The difference is the 2058 versus the 2057 is the large version of this. And if you look, they have, I think the weight is different. 1,300 pound capacity where this one I think has a 700-pound capacity, and I don't see it on here right now, but I'm pretty confident that this one was 700 pounds. My thought process was it's not a weight issue, whereas this one I'd be concerned with the wood. So this one wasn't a weight issue, but it was the design of the little handle thingies. This one, for $20 more, almost double the weight, and it looks like the biggest difference, aside from the weight, a little more robust, is the casters. These are steel inner well casters, whereas these are just your plasticky. So if I was going to go with this particular model, I would probably go with this version. But again, I'm just not a fan of the bend down and twisty. So lo and behold, they have an even more interesting solution, which is kind of funny because this is labeled as the extreme duty, but it only holds 1,200 pounds. Only, like that's an issue. Whereas this one is just, the large version, which holds 1,300 pounds. So, and they even show the wheels on this one. To see the casting. So it's an inner casting with a neoprene outside, where this one looks like it's, they say it's a metal, so I don't know if it's as heavy duty as this, and it looks like a plasticky thing on the outside. But what I liked, I was fine with this one. I like the price as compared to the Delta. The Delta I bought was that I returned was about that. I like the price of this. I like the features up until this little thingy thing. So keep that in mind, because one of my thoughts was, and I could do the same thing with all three of these, is if I wanted to get around my whole concern about, the wheels, and again, I like the heavier dutiness, and 1,300 pounds, shouldn't even be an issue. But instead of using these little, twisty things to put the feet down, I have locking casters that both lock the turn as well as the rotation, as well as the left-right turn. I think they're called, that's like a medical type of wheel that they use in the hospitals so that things stay, they don't move. So Shop Fox offers their top-of-the-line version, and it's a foot lever. So it's, kind of this. I'm not too keen on, this solution with the wheel. I kind of like this. So, I'm thinking that maybe, for compactness, and maybe compactness is not the right word, because maybe this is, depending on orientation, because I think you can orient these to the rear, just like in this particular configuration, so you don't have to have it out the side. So you can reorient this, the corners, so that the wheels are in the front as opposed to the wheels being out the side. And I'm kind of liking that, because having the wheels in the back and the front make this a tighter footprint, smaller footprint. So I like this configuration, but I like this particular set of wheels and the price. And the other thing, and you cannot rotate this around to the back, because these wheels have to be in parallel to the sides. So this has some limitations, but I like the whole lever factor. And one of the things I was thinking was putting my own locking casters on the front so that I can lock it down. And then should I need to deal with the little lever thingies, I have that option. So I'm kind of leaning towards this one with my own set of casters, which would put it in the price range of that, but give me some additional functionality. So we're not there yet. but we're definitely not going down the universal mobile base, which is kind of funny because I don't remember if I mentioned it or not. It's $73 at Home Depot. On the Rainforest, this is $124. So the go buy some wood and build it yourself is the exact same price on the Rainforest as the Shop Fox that will hold 1,200 pounds. So, go figure. All right, that's it for now. Obviously, more to come in this space once we have the mobile base and have decided what path we're going down. But that's it for now. Hello, YouTubers. Reloading Bench back with you once again. And this, hopefully, this Shop Fox heavy-duty mobile base will hopefully be, and this is how it arrived. This is the box it came in. I just removed the shipping labels. So hopefully this will be the mobile base for the Unisaw. So we will cut this open. Or at least we will try to. It looks like that got that. All right, we are free on all four sides. Let's see what this whoopsie daisy. Let's see what this puppy looks like on the inside. How well packaged it is. Well, that's interesting. I thought it was black. Maybe not. All the pictures looked kind of blackish. So one has to wonder, how does this get so scuffed up? And this gets so scuffed up? Maybe from the box, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. But you would think that it would arrive pristine instead of all scuffy. So, looks like we've got, I'm going to guess in here is probably the plates that go in between these. Yeah, I'm really disappointed in how fucking scuffed up everything is. That's kind of shitty. I mean, really, for something that's fucking brand new, look at all that. I mean, that's kind of shitty. I mean, I realize it's for the shop, but still, why does it have to look all shitty? Why does it need to be kind of all janked up and shit? Maybe there's the answer right there. Because I mean, it's heavy duty ish. Well, yeah, that's where's the label? Where's the Shop Fox label? Maybe it's on the... Okay, so it's not on any of these pieces. No Shop Fox label on any of those pieces. I will not be assembling this tonight, which is why I'm kind of putting it back together-ish. All right, let's see how janky I am. So I'm assuming these are wheels. And what I liked, or one of the reasons I went with this, steel wheels. So on my Wens, especially on the Craftsman, I can see the wear. So here's some steel wheels, cast iron, whatever. That was one of the reasons I opted for this particular version of the... And yes, so what we have here are the middle pieces. There's our Shop Fox label. Also scuffy. That's my OCD kicking in. Let me just put those back because, like I said, I'm not doing anything with this tonight. All right, so this will be a project probably for the weekend. We now have a mobile base. What I'll probably do is build it and see how it fits, whether I have to build it around the base or I can build it and the base, the bottom of the mobile base can sit in. And by that I mean, get it? Heavy, 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 heavy. So by that I mean, God, that's heavy. By that I mean, you know, do I make this, because there's a little bit of a lip right there. Little bit of a lip. Little lip right there. So obviously I have to build this. You know, if I build it, if I put it together with this in it, it's probably a tighter fit than if I build it and then slip this in. So I will test both of those. Because my thought process is that when I do ultimately build this, the cabinet, depending on whether I need to build the base around the cabinet base, or I can build the base, the mobile base, and then put the bottom of the cabinet in, that will determine how I assemble the cabinet. Because if I have to build the base and then put this in, what I would then do is probably put this with the cabinet together, and then as one large unit build this around that. So we'll see how that goes. So this will probably be a longer series than originally intended, but we now have what I'm going to say is the mobile base. Later. Hello YouTube, Reloading Bench back with you once again, and this segment will be highlighting some more of my dumbassity. So as I was shopping for the mobile base for the Unisaw, and the Shop Foxes came highly recommended, and I did a segment on the 3 different versions, and this was going to be my original purchase. And the reason I decided not to go with this was because I wanted heavier duty wheels. So I went with this version, which the picture doesn't actually show the correct, the cast iron wheels. So this actually has a greater load capacity. It's about $20 more, no big deal, but essentially the same design. So I'm paying for the wheels. And then I'm going to configure it like this as opposed to the sides. So I was so focused on this model and the dimensions of this model, 19.5 to 29.5 square, that I really didn't pay attention when I was ordering this, because as I highlighted the $107 version, I didn't realize that the dimensions were 18.5 to 24.5 by 28.5 to 33.5. So again, I picked up this model, but I was thinking I was getting the dimensions because I thought the only difference in the 2 models was the wheels. But there's more to it. This one actually can scale up a little bit longer, not as wide. So maximum inside dimensions 29.5 by 29.5 for the $87 version. Maximum inside dimensions 28.5 by 33, so a little more rectangular capabilities excuse me, on this one that I bought. So let me break out how far I've built it to date. Alright, so I have this partially built in terms of the front to back, and the dimensions on my base, the actual saw base, are not identical. The front to back is 21 3/4, and the side to side is 21 11/16. So 1/16 difference, which again, minuscule, but the whole point being I'm trying to get as close as possible. So this is 22 3/4. This is 22.5, so I have to adjust this one a little bit more, but this one is right on the money. 22 3/4, give or take a little bit. So what I'm going to do And these by themselves are 25 inches. So this is the make it or break it decision, because my decision is going to be, I'm going to cut these two equally. So I will cut some off of each end. I don't know why there is this hole. Maybe from a painting perspective, they held it up to paint it, but I don't know what that hole is for. So I'm going to put these, since this one is wrong, let me move these out of the way. Since this one is too short, I don't remember. Yeah, so this, they had a hole. I'm going to assume this was the hanging tag to paint these. So just hang up on an assembly line to paint them. So what my goal is, and if memory serves, there's nothing keeping them from going all the way. And they do have a max line that you can't get any wider than this. So going shorter should not be a problem. So I will trim the others close to this, but what I think I'm going to do is fit this to the base so I have exact dimensions before I start cutting anything. The other thing I want to mention is this magnet solution. So it's not that I don't like this solution. It's that my concern is when this saw is in here, my ability to crank this down to push that out might be limited, meaning I might not have the strength to twist this because of the weight of the saw. So what I'm thinking of doing is going to the hardware store and buying just a long bolt with this thread pattern. I don't know what that thread pattern is. I'm assuming it's metric. It looks like 3/8 inch, so what's that, M8, M10? And what I will probably do is buy a longer bolt with a head, hex bolt, and then I'll put this on the lathe and then do a little turning and cutting to emulate this. Not that I need to, but you know, it's cute. And there's nothing in here restricting this whole thread. So my thought is longer bolt with a head that I could then put a right angle drill or a socket, and then use a socket to turn it if it's too difficult to turn by hand because of the weight. So that's what me thinks. But let me take you over to the mat so I can do this on the mat, and we'll see how that works out. All right, so I have a piece of tape labeling this as the front, because the front to back is 22 3/4, and the side to side, 21 3/4, and the side to side is 21 11/16. So my thought is, let me see how that fits on that side, and then let me see how this fits on this side with the shorter bar. And again, you can see the difference. I'll be cutting about 5-6 inches. And again, I think I'll cut equally on both sides for both of those longer extensions. So let me fit this and be right back. All right, so that's going to be the orientation with the two shorties on the front to back. So the front of the saw is there, and my initial thought was to put the turning, rotating wheels on the side of the motor. So the saw cutting would be this way. The rails would match the wheels, and my thought was the motor is going to be the heaviest side, so maybe make that the rotation wheels. But in either case, if I decide to make, and that would also be the lifters on the motor side, which again is going to be the heaviest side. So worst case, I would flip this and have the rotating wheels on this side, but I'm still going to have the casters oriented in this fashion. So now it comes down to how much gets cut off. Not a lot. Essentially, 2.5 inches or so. And that is the next step. Back in a bit. Alright, so hopefully by now the Fever saw has made it onto the channel. And here's a perfect opportunity to cut both sides. Naturally, the label is not centered in on either piece, so with my OCD, I'm trying to center it so that I have an equidistant cut, so the same amount of the Shopfox label will appear, because I have plenty of space on either end. Again, this doesn't have to be cut to any exact spec, so I am going to start this, and if memory serves, there is a lock. Where was the lock? There's on and off. We're at a speed of 3, which I'll leave it on. Oh, it's been a while. Where's the lock? Where's the lock? Or maybe it didn't have a lock. I want to say it had a lock. Dun, dun, dun. I moved this. That's good. It's been a while. Where are you at, lock? Or maybe this is the lock. That was the light. Maybe there was no lock. I can't honestly remember. Alright, so we're gonna no turning back, and I'm hitting the camera, of course, the tripod, because of where everything is. Are you still centered? Yeah, you can see that. Alright, with my glasses, let me get my gloves. And let's see how easy this cuts. We're going to call that pretty easy cut. Decent. Camera's always in the way. We're going to call that good enough, close enough. Shorter is better than longer. That's not what she said. All right, I'm going to file that, and then I will test fit. Back shortly. All right, we now have our identically sized and cut pieces filed, and now we will install. All right, I'm not going to lie, this kicked my butt, mainly because getting everything in remembering to put it in the correct orientation. So the front of the saw is this way, so the blade will turn this way, or rather that way, and I'll move it. The tracks per se, the wheels would be in alignment with the rails on the upper portion of the saw, so that's what I would probably be lifting to get it over the bumps in the garage driveway if I put it out on the driveway. Tweaking it was challenged because it's essentially got 8 different points, technically 16 when you consider all the number of bolts, but 8 points of variable adjustment from side to side. And I'll lower the camera because this sets in there perfectly, so there's no wiggle, no jarring, no movement, and with the weight of the total saw at 350 to 400 pounds. This just isn't going to go anywhere. But I'll lower this so you can see when I lift it out how easy it does lift in and out at this point, just because all that's there is the base. Each of the 16 bolts are not cranked down, but they're locked in so that these won't move at all. But the nylon nuts, which were a bitch because they want the nylon facing the head. The problem is nylon nuts are usually fed from the bottom, so trying to feed a bolt from the nylon head was next to impossible. So you actually had to thread the nut with the nylon side down in order to break the seal on the nylon so that you could then feed it with the nylon side facing the head. Just a pain in the ass. So you had to do that 16 times. Thread it 16 times, unthread it 16 times, and then rethread it with the nylon nut facing up. So quirky directions, but they are what they are. Like I said, this will come out, just lifts out. And again, that's the wheels making noise, but there's no, again, wheels making noise. There's no jarring, so it's in there good. So we're gonna call this weekend done. Whoo, kick my butt.